welcome back to Talks, and I'm here with you with an amazing video with new news about space. It's about how men are going back towards the moon after almost half a century. It's about the mission with NASA known as Artemis 2, and I'm here to explain about it in detail. So let's get on with the video, but don't forget to subscribe to my channel, share this video with your friends and family, like this video and turn on the notification button for more amazing videos such as this one. So I'm going to explain about the crew, the space module, the spacecraft, how it's working and how the techs are. So let's start about how the machine is working. Well, it's a spacecraft known as Orion. Well, this Orion spacecraft is majorly made for long travels, and you see the Orion spacecraft is used here. Then the ship is like this. It has two side boosters which will fall off after reaching the high Earth orbit or just before it. It is mainly for getting that extra boost which it needs to get out of the atmosphere. Now, there is the main booster which will help it reach the high Earth orbit, from which it can easily maneuver towards the moon. And after that, there is the space module where the crew will be there. It's almost 16 feet long with 8 feet long height, etc. Well, you might think it's congested, but it's almost 5 times more than what the Apollo crew had. Now, this is extremely great because this allows them to study way more about the space. Now, this Orion spacecraft is especially good because of one reason, which is NASA is thinking about doing more Artemis missions, and that can be seen in the NASA Space Center and in the room called the Neil Armstrong Operation Room, where there are multiple models of Artemis 3, 4, 5 and more generations of it coming up. Well, how does it work? You see, the Artemis module which is being sent is going to be recycled, well, refurnished. You see, it will fall on the Pacific Ocean and it can be retrieved and used once again. How, you might ask? Well, it is because while it's entering the atmosphere of Earth while resurfacing, the thing is, it will be going at almost 40,000 kilometers per hour. This is so much that the velocity is so high that the friction will cause that much heat that usually the spacecraft will be destroyed. But the thing with this one, it is having almost this thick heat shield which will help it so that the damage and the heat is absorbed and the module can come down. And another thing about this is that once it enters into the atmosphere of the Earth, it will deploy its 16 parachutes which will make it so that the crew can reach Earth safely. And after this, the Orion spacecraft will be brought back and refurnished so that it can be sent in the mission Artemis 3, which is for actually looking at what is there in the moon. In Artemis 3, they are going to land in moon and they are going to investigate what is happening in moon, what is going to happen in the south part of the moon, and what is the things that are hiding in the shadows of the bumps present in the moon. You see, the specialty of the south zone of the moon is that most of the time there will be sunlight. That means that the shadows will be so high up and long that many things can be hiding behind it. They will also take samples of ice particles so that it will tell us if we can inhabit it or not. And they are also going to set up a base in the moon in Artemis 3. Well, you should know what happened in Artemis 1 also, which is the predecessor of the Artemis 2. Well, what happened in it is that it was something where they tried to find out what is happening in the moon and if this voyage will be possible. It was an unmanned mission and it was a total success, leading to Artemis 1. So I will explain about Artemis now, which is Artemis 2. Well, now I am going to talk about how the Orion mission is going to work in the day-by-day simulation. I am going to explain its 4 steps which are going to be shown in this picture, where it's going to show the orbit of the Orion and how it's going to revolve around the moon and come back and resurface in Earth. Well then, let's talk about the first procedure, which is going to be the the spacecraft being kept at its launch pad. After it's kept there, there will be the iconic countdown, which is the 3, 2, 1, and finally it will be launched. And after this launching will happen the second phase, which is where all the thrusters go up and shoot up the rocket. You might notice something if you watch the clip, which is that it will be moving at the arc of such a style. And I'll show you a video of that right now. Now, you see what's the specialty of this is that arc is formed so that it can escape the Earth's gravity much easier than how it will be if it goes straight up, which means much fuel will be saved. Now, speaking of the fuel, it is liquefied hydrogen and oxygen. This is the fuel for this spacecraft, and this fuel is enough to fill a whole Olympic-sized swimming pool. Now, isn't that just a lot of fuel? Well, it's just enough for us to reach to phase 3, where the second boosters will be removed and finally there will be only one main thruster and it will reach the high Earth orbit. And from there, the third phase will continue with full power as the Orion module will fully expand with its solar panels, which are enough to sustain for a long time. And it will be having its own thrusters so that the spacecraft can be maneuvered in certain angles so that it can be gone to a perfect orbit around the moon. Now, once it reaches the moon, it will orbit and come back and resurface, which is phase 4, a safe landing. Now, those are all the phases, and here is the route for how it's going to travel. I already showed it. I'm showing it again so that you can understand much easily. Now, that's about how Orion is going, etc. Now, I will create another video about what its crew is like, what its goals are, etc. And also, that video will be published very soon, as tomorrow, day after tomorrow, Orion will reach its goal and start orbiting the moon, so that we'll get more info about it very, very soon. Currently, Orion is way closer to the moon than it's on Earth, and that milestone was reached yesterday. Well, currently there are some issues in the Orion spacecraft, such as the bathrooms not working because of the which is suspected that the urine actually froze and made it so that there is a blockade, which has been solved in a very peculiar way. And another way was how the chamber had broken. That was just false news, and that's all right. So that's what's happening in the Orion currently. So that's all for today's video about Artemis 2. I'll come back to you with a new video about the crew, the features, and how it's going to work in the future. So that's all for today's video. Thank you and have a nice day. And also wait for part 2. Now.